Do you love to dominate the SAT? And when you take the exam, you always run out of the time. Stay cool. I have perfect solution for you. For the basics, you just need to remember that intersection means solution. For example, here you have systems of equations and they want you to find solution. You simply graph both equations and see where they intersect. That's literally your solution. Okay, that was easy, but here, alongside your system, they gave you headache called unknown constant. In that case, simply add a slider for the constant. But as you can see, the range of your slider is too narrow, so let's increase the range up to 20. And because I set one solution, we are gonna move this slider until they intersect at exactly one point. So the value of b is 12. Another type of problem can give you two equations and ask you to find how many solutions do they have. Let's take a piece of paper and do boring math. It's something I would never say. Instead, just graph them on Desmos and we can see parallel lines that never intersect with each other. No intersections means no solutions. Sometimes, you will end up with two lines that are exactly the same, just standing on top of each other. In that case, they are considered to have infinitely many solutions because they literally overlap in every single point. I've been a SAT tutor for the past 6 years. I listen to their problems and help solve them, only to find out that they think of regression as something very difficult. But is it so? For example, in this problem, you're given points and the unknown equation. What may look difficult for 1 millisecond turns out to be a very easy question of 2 steps. First, simply click on this plus button, choose a table. They give us points 1, -1 and 3, 23, which we insert here. Then see this equation? Let's type it in as well. Are we going to ignore the problem like a professional human being? Basically, we have to tell Desmos that these points belong to this equation. As you can see, table is defined with y1 and x1, so our equation must also be written with y1 and x1. And don't forget to replace equal sign with tilde because this sign indicates regression. Once we do that, Desmos gives us the values of unknown constants, so a times b is going to be -12. So guys, I bet my life this is 100% gonna show up. They give you points, but instead of equation, they just mention the name of the function, which is linear in this case. This question is actually very easy. After inserting your points, click on this button and simply choose the name of your equation. Wow, look at this. We accidentally discovered the answer to your question. If you ever see a question with infinitely many solutions, rejoice. An easy win. First, write your expression in regression form, replacing x with x1 and the equal sign with tilde. Then, simply type in x1 equals 1 ... in square brackets. You do this for every single infinitely many solution question. Now, questions in this category appears pretty much every single time. One example is systems of inequalities. After graphing them on Desmos, you want to pay attention to the region where colors overlap. That is your solution area. Now let's check the choices. 0, 7, nope, it doesn't work. 2, 4, does it count as a solution? It counts only when the point is on solid line, but here we have a dashed line, so it doesn't actually count. Now, the point 10, 10 is inside your solution area, so that's your answer. Just like inequalities, you can solve circle questions just by plugging them straight to the Desmos. Once you have a circle, bookmark the highest and lowest point because their distance gives you a diameter. Now, how do you find their distance? Well, you could use your brain and subtract 1 from 19, or you could use Desmos by labeling your points with random letter and literally typing in distance parenthesis a, b. Finally, you can divide your diameter by 2 to get your radius. You could also find center of your circle using midpoint. Ideally, you can solve equivalent questions just by factoring and doing algebra. safer and the easier option is to graph original expression and see which choice matches with the original graph. In this case, it's choice B, because its graph is literally standing on top of the original one. Unfortunately, there are question types that cannot always be solved on Desmos. For one, the questions with quadratics and the number of solutions. I mean, you may still get away with easier problems on Desmos, like in this example, but if SAT gives you harder questions, you will be bye-bye. Do you want bye-bye? No, you don't. Then consider learning discriminant as a backup plan. You just need to remember that no solutions means the same slope. So for example, take a look at these two equations. The slope of the first one is unknown b, and the slope of the second one is 2. And because they have no solution, the b will be equal to 2. I hope it makes sense. But if your y is not isolated, like in this system, then you gotta isolate it first and only then set their slopes equal to each other to find a known constant.